Good afternoon. Today I have the lovely Ashley with me. Hi, Ashley. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Donna. Firstly, thank you for having me. So, like you said, I'm Ashley. I'm quite a new author. My debut came out about 6 weeks ago, which is here, actually, before I forget to show it. Lucy's coming for you. So this is my first interview. So I live in Nottingham with my partner and my little boy. And the book is all about my experience, actually, so I should probably kind of mention that a little bit. So the main character in the book is a mental health advocate who works at sort of different hospitals advocating for people with mental health issues. And that's a job that I used to do. I studied psychology for 5 years. Did a degree first in psychology and then a master's in health psychology as well. So I kind of wanted to talk about that really, and to get kind of a message out about mental health, but in a kind of creepy, fun way, if that makes sense. So in a fun book. So that's what the book is about, and a little bit about me.
Have you always wanted to write?
Yes, always. I used to actually have a little typewriter when I was a kid. I remember my dad bought me one. He used to always read to me. Quite a lot of Enid Blyton, Secret Seven, Famous Five. I've noticed a lot of writers saying the same thing, who write in kind of crime or psychological thrillers. And I had my own little typewriter. I used to write little stories. So I don't ever remember not wanting to be a writer, really. So just from a really, really young age, I've just always loved it, always loved reading, always loved writing. And now I write with my own little boy, which is nice. We sort of made up a story earlier about an alligator and a flamingo, which was his idea. So hopefully we can write a little book together as well, which would be nice.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And what made you take the plunge and actually write your first book?
So I think it's probably partly to do with lockdown and wanting to do something. I know I've started books before, but then never finished them. So in December, I had this book, Lucy. I started writing Lucy's Coming about 4 years ago, and sort of kept adding sort of bits to it. And then in December, I actually set up a group called Crazy About Writing, which was to sort of inspire local children to write stories and, give little prizes and stuff like that. And that's kind of how it started, by starting Crazy About Writing. And then I sort of realized that this amazing writing community on Twitter, and groups on Facebook, and just kind of hearing from other writers and reading about their paths, it just kind of inspired me to think, actually, I could actually finish this book and put it out there. I think it kind of finally just kind of hit me. And I forced myself to actually finish one, which was great. And then started getting feedback, which was, really nice to hear, to get some good feedback and stuff. So I thought I'll go ahead and finally publish. So I think lockdown had a lot to do with it. I don't know how, because I was working from home, trying to homeschool, and then trying to write a book on top of it. So I'm not sure why I chose that time to do it. I survived, so
you managed it. So yes, awesome.
yeah, absolutely.
And did you find it more difficult than you expected, actually finishing it, editing it, and getting it out there? Then,
do you know what? I think I kind of thought it just wasn't going to happen. So then when I realised that it might happen and sort of how to do it, I sort of just made the decision that it's definitely going to happen, no matter how difficult it is, and it will be okay. I think I learned a lot from the whole process, from getting feedback from people and seeing their thoughts about the story and the writing, and then obviously the professional editors and their feedback and on the writing and on how to improve it and stuff like that, was really, really good. I think it just gave me a lot of confidence in the book and in the story, which was nice. So it's not easy, but I don't think it was as difficult as I thought it was going to be, because I thought it was so, and it did actually happen in the end. So probably not as impossible as I thought it would be, which is good. And now I'm writing a book 2, to Lucy's comment as well, which is that's probably more difficult than I thought it would be, because I'm trying to write it a lot quicker than I wrote Lucy's. You know, I didn't want to wait 4 years again for a book 2, because nobody cares, you know, 4 years from when the first book was released. So it's up for pre-order. It's out on the 30th of November. And yeah, trying to push myself to finish it in a much quicker timescale. That's probably been harder than I realised it would be. But it's going okay. So, you know, I just need to stop procrastinating and get it done.
Who's been your favourite character you've written so far?
I think it must be Lucy. She was a lot of fun to write. So Lucy is, she's a patient that Summer, who is the mental health advocate, advocates for. So Summer visits lots of different hospitals, and Summer is just in one particular mental health hospital. So you're introduced to both of them straight away in chapter 1. And, you know, there's a scene between Summer and Lucy, and you kind of get the vibe that Summer is a bit wary of Lucy. You know, she was actually attacked by Lucy a few weeks before. Lucy's got quite a violent history. And, you know, by the end of chapter 1, Summer is asking a nurse about Lucy's behaviour, and the nurse kind of turns around and sort of says, "Who's Lucy?" And the whole book is about whether or not Lucy is real. Is Summer getting mentally ill like her brother was mentally ill? You know, there's a lot of what's actually happening in the book, and there are chapters from the bad guy's point of view, shall we say. So that was really, really fun to write, you know, to kind of get into the character's head. So yeah, it was good. It was good to kind of get into the antagonist's head and try and show people how mental health kind of really is, in a way, which is what I was trying to do with this one.
Sounds like quite a challenge to sort of, you know, lots of different things going on to try and keep on top of.
It's a big book. It's very fast paced, very quick, you know, straight away in chapter 1, like I've just said, you're thrown straight in at the deep end with the action. So yeah, so it's very fast paced, and there's quite a few characters. So, you know, you've got Summer and Lucy, then you also have D.I. Swanson, who's a detective that Summer meets, who he's not so helpful at first, but, you know, he becomes a little bit more helpful. And then you have the nurse that I mentioned as well. So there's a couple of points of view that you can read from that kind of create this feeling of what is going on in this book. You know, it's I suppose it's inspired by, there's a couple of inspirations. There's Sophie Hannah. I don't know if you've ever read Sophie Hannah's book. She has one called Little Face. It's the first one I read of Sophie Hannah's. But a lot of her books, earlier books at least, are a similar vibe, where you'll kind of read chapter 1 and it's a situation where you'll think, what on earth is going on in this book? And you just have to keep reading it to find out. And another thing Sophie Hannah does as well is she kind of explores the different possibilities of what might be happening. So you're reading it thinking, oh, maybe this is what's happening, you know, I think I've got the twist. And then the next chapter you'll be like, oh, okay, no, that wasn't the twist. And I think Lucy has kind of like a similar vibe to that. But the other person is Mo Hader. She was a massive inspiration to me. She's my favorite author. So obviously I was devastated when she passed away just a week or two after my own book, which is so heavily inspired by her, came out. But her books have a kind of creepy vibe to them. And that's something else that I really enjoyed. So I think I'd say probably the style of the book is a little bit of a mixture of those two. Not that I'm saying I'm as good as Mo Hader or Sophie Hannah, but vibe-wise, I'd say it's kind of similar, or a mixture of them. So that was fun to write.
And when you started it, did you know your ending, or did it keep changing as you went along?
No, I started it with the nurse saying, you know, who's Lucy, and I didn't know where I was going to go from there. I knew that was going to stay as chapter 1. I did not know where I was going to go from there. I'm not a planner. I don't plan things. Although I did say the other day, generally my kind of draft 1 of a book, you could probably say is just a detailed outline. You know, it's very short when I finish my first draft, and I do go through it kind of thinking, right, what's going to happen next? And some paragraphs might only be like some chapters, sorry, might only be like a paragraph or so, just when I'm figuring it all out. So maybe my draft one is my plot, but no, when I didn't know for ages how I was going to end it. The book kind of just kept flowing and flowing. These characters kept coming in, and these different scenarios kept kind of being debunked, if you like, throughout the chapters. And I thought, oh gosh, where am I going to go with this? But yeah, I figured it out eventually. But yeah, I'm definitely not a planner, which is kind of me in my day-to-day life, to be honest. I'm quite laid back and easygoing and don't tend to plan anything. I'm much more of a last minute person. So
what was your most fun scene to write, and what was the most difficult, obviously without spoilers?
I think my most fun scene is chapter 1. And just kind of creating that whole, like setting the whole book up and trying to draw people in straight away and getting into the action and trying to introduce what felt like too many characters in the first chapter, but they kind of had to be in there, you know. So yeah, although I probably rewrote chapter 1 the most, I think it is just my favourite chapter. I really, really like the way it kind of sets the book up. But I think the hardest one is it's near the end, where I can't really say what happens, but the ending I think was far harder for me to write. And I don't know if that's just because, you know, I wasn't sure where I was going to go with the story and what I wanted to do with it. That's probably the reason. In the book I'm writing now, I wrote the beginning and the end straight away, and it's the middle that I left till last. I knew what was going to happen at the end, and I knew what was going to happen at the beginning, just wasn't sure how we got from A to B with it. But yeah, with Lucy, I think it was definitely the last couple of chapters, just trying to work it out. I think I prefer to build the suspense, can't get my words out, suspense through the first few chapters. I don't like ending the suspense near the end. I don't enjoy that as much. I like building it, you know, making what's going on, confusing everybody. So yeah, that's probably what I'd say.
Do you plan to carry this on as a long series, or do you want to try something different once you've written this book?
So there's obviously Lucy and the next one, which is called Mother, Liar, Murderer, the book that's on for pre-order at the minute, out on the 30th of November. And I'm definitely going to do one more that should be out around early next year. But I think I'll leave it for a bit at that point and just sort of see how it goes, really. You know, do people want more books in that series? And I think I'll definitely write something else, should have a little bit of a break from it, you know, write something else. This whole series basically explores mental health. So Mother, Liar, Murderer is also like an exploration of Astrid, the main character is called. It's an exploration of her mental health and something that happened in her past, that somebody is now kind of threatening her to sort of kind of tell everybody, you know. I'm not sure, I've sort of put the blurb up, but I might changes. I'm not sure how much to say about it, but yeah, that book's took a much darker turn than I thought it would actually. It wasn't as dark as Lucy, now it's probably even darker than Lucy's Coming, so I'm a bit like, well, I didn't expect that to happen, but here we are. So yeah, so there'll be a book 3, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Do you fancy writing in any particular other genres, or would you always stick to sort of thrillers?
Possibly. I do love psychological thrillers, and I have so much experience in sort of mental health and reading psychological thrillers and stuff that I think really I can bring it together quite well. I wouldn't write in comedy because I cannot be funny on purpose, but I think other genres are, you know, maybe. I quite like the idea of romantic suspense. So just like a slight change in genre where I'm still confusing people. There's like a more of a romantic element to it. I think that's because I recently read Verity and quite enjoyed it. So I thought, oh, maybe it'd be quite fun. You know, we'll see.
I still don't know what the truth at the end of that is.
Right.
I'm not sure.
No
which
idea.
is amazing for a book. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Very clever. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing book, really. And some people don't like it, and I don't understand that. I know everyone has different tastes, but I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I did enjoy it. Yeah, I thought it was really good. It's taken me like ages and ages to read it, and I actually googled the ending of it a few months ago because I wanted to know what people were talking about, and I was too impatient to read it. So I was trying to write, and if I knew if I started reading it, I wouldn't write until I'd finished it. So even though I knew vaguely that the ending was sort of how it is, I still loved reading the book, which I think is that's a skill, you know. Yeah, I do. I think she's a great writer. So yeah, I'd love to do something like that, or at least romantic suspense. So we'll see. We'll see.
I'll look out for that then. I imagine that would be pretty fun if you do.
Hopefully.
And I've totally forgot what I was going to ask you then. Completely gone. I don't know. Do you find that when you're writing you can't read?
It depends if I am stuck on a scene or something. If I'm stuck, I'm actually stuck on a scene at the moment, which is why I've ended up reading Verity, because I kind of need to just get outside of my book for a little bit. And I think I mentioned to you earlier that I watched Clickbait till like 3 a.m. this morning. And that's why I've been binge reading Verity. I read that in a day. Binge watching Clickbait is because I'm stuck on a scene and I'm procrastinating. But I'm also kind of looking out for like inspiration and stuff. You know, sometimes it will just hit me whilst doing something else relaxing, I suppose. And seeing other people's work is more relaxing than writing, struggling with the scene that I'm struggling with. So yeah, there's that. I'm not sure about Clickbait. I'll have to let you know when I've watched a couple more.
Yeah, I'm going to have to watch that because I've seen so many people mention it. It's another one of those programs that's just being talked about non-stop. But I read. I have no time to watch TV.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to binge watch it all last night. But yeah, failed. I got too tired. I think there's 2 episodes left to watch. So
I'm not surprised at 3 in the morning. Oh, God.
I'm not normally up past 10. I'm not a night owl. I get up really, really early in the mornings to write, 3, 4, 5 a.m. kind of early. So I'm in bed by 10 because I'm done. I'm done by 10. So yeah, it's
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Just talking about it.
Yeah. I was up at 4:45. Well, my alarm went off at 4:45 and I just kept shutting it up because it was annoying me. But eventually I had to give in and get up.
It's the worst thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, when it's not your choice, it sucks.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. Luckily, I am more of a morning person, so I don't mind too much getting up early. I was still up at 7 this morning, but I wasn't writing because I was too tired after not going to bed till 3. So never mind.
Yeah, I'm not. My colleagues just pass me coffee when I come in. They don't even have to ask, they just give me coffee.
Oh, that's good. It's the downside of having to make my own coffee.
Yeah, it's a good thing about working in a place that sells it. Just press a button.
Yeah, that perk of the job.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we don't have to pay for it either, which is awesome.
Nice. Yeah, that's a definite big perk.
Yeah. Do you have any fears or phobias, and would you write about them?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a wimp, to be honest. You probably wouldn't know it from reading my books, but I am. The book I'm writing at the moment, like I said, it took a bit of a dark turn, and it fully gave me nightmares the other night about something crawling in my bed. So, yeah, I'm scared of everything. I don't really like the dark that much. I don't like heights. I've got a really weird phobia of belly buttons. I can't see them. If anyone was to touch their own belly button, my partner will do it just to freak me out. I will run away screaming. So yeah, I don't know if I'd write about that one. It sounds a bit like I'd be making it up. A bit far-fetched, but it's true, unfortunately. But yeah, I do write about my other fears, definitely, monsters in the bed and stuff. I shouldn't, because I give myself nightmares, what I do. There was a book I started once and I haven't finished it and I haven't gone back to it. It scared me that much that I wrote about half of it and was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'll have to get back to it one day if I can still find it. But that was about a haunted old mental health institution. It was a building that was near me. There's a building in Derby that was an old asylum, and is now flats. And it was about a patient that was at the asylum. And I legit had nightmares that he was going to get me, and just I couldn't. I'm such a wimp. I will get back to that book one day with all the lights on.
Yeah, mental asylum and haunting is just creepy. Before you even begin, that's all you need to say, and you're like, yeah, that's going to be really creepy.
Yeah, I don't know why I write about these things, but there we go. I think I'm just a bit of a masochist and just like to scare myself. So, and the same with horror films. If there's a ghost in it, I will have nightmares for weeks, but I do still watch them. So I don't know why.
Yeah, I only watch horror films with the lights on, well, in the daytime, not at all, no. And they're still good. I suppose it's not the same effect, but yeah, that's fine for me.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you. Lights on only.
Yeah. I know. Oh, yeah, I'm a wimp as well, actually, so it doesn't surprise me. I don't like the dark either.
No, I'm not. I did genuinely sleep with the lamp on the other night because I'd scared myself with the book. But yeah, I will write about these things. So
yeah. Is there anything you absolutely will never write about?
I can't. No, there's one thing that I wouldn't normally write about, but I kind of accidentally have in my current book, and I can't really say what it is because it kind of gives away the ending. So I'll have to choose something else quick. Do you know, I can't think of anything in particular. No, I'm not this. I think because the books that I read, they're quite, they can get quite like dark, you know, like Mo Hayder's quite dark, and there's some other books as well. I'm not so good with like true stories and stuff, you know, like Jack Ketchum's The Girl Next Door. I don't know if you've read that. That's based on a true story, isn't it? Of, you know, a young girl being tortured, and I can't read it because it's true. It would upset me too much to read it. So yeah, not that. And I did read a book that had sort of child abuse in it, you know, where a toddler was quite badly abused, and I couldn't, if I'd have known that was what it was about, I wouldn't have read the book. So I suppose that's the kind of thing that I maybe wouldn't write about it. No. So yeah, probably stops there. I say probably because never say never. Writers' minds get quite dark at times, don't they? But yeah, that's probably it.
Are there any secret jokes or messages or Easter eggs in your books?
No, the only kind of joke is something where Summer has a son. She's a single mom, and she has a son who may be a little bit based on my own son at times, and says things that my own son has said to me, and he's sort of constantly saying the word chicken for no reason, which is Summer's son. I think it was just annoying me. So I was like, but that's kind of it at the moment. It is just that. So for now, we'll see when the second book comes out.
If you were to be a character in any book or TV series, who would you choose to be? Would you be a villain or would you be a good person?
Oh, I always love, as much as I do love the villains, like I've already said that I loved writing about Lucy. I definitely want to be a good person, but I can't think who would be the best to choose. So I've literally, all I've got going through my head is like superheroes from Marvel. I think I'd choose like a really good heroine from a book, and I'm just like, oh, Wonder Woman.
That would be fun, actually.
Yeah. Oh, I do love Stucky Stackhouse, actually. I was reading those books the other day, you know, the True Blood books. There's a genre that I might try one day. I do quite like that genre as well. And that would be pretty cool. I love vampires. I think vampires are awesome. Maybe that's what I'd be, actually, a vampire. Cool.
Yeah, that would be fun. Not many female vampires either, so
that's true.
Yeah.
Pam from True Blood, she's quite cool. So yeah, maybe her.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, I think it would be.
If you were to be a killer in a book, how would you kill?
Oh, that's a good question. So there's so many different scenarios going through my head, but they're all from other people's books. I don't want to read them. So I think that the worst one I've read recently is probably from, is it M.W. Craven, his series. I've only read the first one so far. I found out about him not so long ago, and there's literally people being burned alive. It's quite like, okay.
Yeah, I think it gets worse with his.
Yeah, I'll wait to find out. I think I've downloaded the second one actually. I just haven't got around to reading it yet. There's certain books that I won't read while I'm writing, just because I don't want to take too much inspiration in when I'm writing. You know, I don't want it to. Whereas I thought Verity maybe is very different to what I write, so I thought that would be okay. So yeah, I'll probably finish this and then crack on and read the second one. But it would probably be really boring if I was going to kill somebody. I'd probably just shoot or stab them. I can't. When I'm writing, I'll come up with all these imaginative things, and then it's just on the spot. I don't know. I just shoot them, and I'm really boring.
Yeah. That's what someone asked me, and I said I'd stab someone 100 times, and I think he was quite shocked. But it just came to my head. There wasn't even, actually, I didn't even think about it. It was just like straight away. I was like, yeah, I'll stab him 100 times. I was like, why 100? I don't know. You've got to make sure.
Sounds like a good number. You've got to make sure, though, you know, if you're going to do it, you need to be careful and make sure.
Oh, I've heard a really good one, but I have to tell you after, because I'm not sure if the book's out yet. But it's an awesome way of killing someone. So yeah, I'll tell you. So if you get any free time, which doesn't sound like you get much, what would you like to do with it?
What would I do with it? I'd love to travel. I love traveling. So if I had actual free time, that didn't evolve around, you know, working and writing and reading, yeah, I think I would definitely travel. Oh, it seems okay. You hear me okay?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely traveling. I haven't managed to get to like loads of places, to be fair, like a lot of Europe, but I'd love to maybe go see a couple of different places in America, and Australia as well would be awesome. I've got a family in Australia, so it'd be nice to go and see them. Most of my family are in Ireland. My mum's Irish. I half grew up in Ireland, so yeah, some of them are in Australia, which would be nice to go see. So yeah,
I have no desire to go to Australia at all. Just the spiders and the snakes are just like, nah, I'm fine.
Yeah, there is that. Like I said earlier, I am a wimp, and I am scared. I'm a typical girl around spiders and creepy crawlies and stuff. I think the only thing I'm not that scared of is moths. But my partner is scared of them, so we kind of just switch. He will get the spiders and I will get anything that flies. Good, it's handy. My brother did go to Australia a few years ago, and he put his jeans on when he was getting dressed, and there was a spider like the size of his fist. He has much bigger hands than mine, so he was a huge spider right in his, like a lump in his jeans, and he just whipped them off as quickly as he could and like threw them away. So yeah, there is that.
You know, I'm sure it's an amazing country, and you know the pictures and stuff, but just no, no.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Hopefully and sharks as well.
Sorry.
And sharks as well.
Yeah,
there's just so many things that want to kill you. Just
yeah, we're quite safe here, aren't we? You know, there's not much around here really. As much as we're scared of spiders, they don't generally hurt you at all, do they? So.
If you're able to travel to any time period, either forward or back, where would you like to go?
I think I would maybe go back. The 80s sound kind of fun. I wouldn't go back too far, I think, because I like, you know, modern conveniences and stuff. So maybe I'd go back, but then maybe, I don't know, actually. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, actually, maybe I'd go forward if it was temporary. I don't want to be permanently like 20 years older. So maybe I would just look to see what the future is like a little bit. I don't know though, because I'm actually also quite scared of people who like tell you the future. You know, my mum loves them. She's always going to them. And I just like, no, I don't want to know, really. I think I'd be scared of it if I knew. So yeah, maybe I'd stick to going backwards. Just for like the clothes and like the lifestyle, really, more than anything else. But I wouldn't go back far. So.
Yeah, neither would I. And I don't understand people that want to go back to like Tudor times and stuff.
No, that sounds terrifying. I think maybe just as long as no one else can see me and I can just watch for a few minutes and easily get home, maybe just out of pure nosiness. But yeah, they sound like quite scary times.
Yeah, and you know, sanitation and medication and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, when you what they used to do, or the way they used to do surgery is enough, you know, going anywhere.
Oh hell yeah.
Especially when I think I read somewhere about what chainsaws were really invented for. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have any strange or unusual talents?
No, not really. Everything I can do is right. So let's try and have a think. I can't really think of anything I do. I'm more the kind of person that will try things but get bored really, really quickly. You know, so other than writing and reading, and nothing else that I've kind of put my hand to has lasted. Not generally because I'm rubbish at it, but there's probably a lot I've been rubbish at, but just because I think I just love new things, you know, and I'll kind of go head first into a new hobby or something, and then 2 weeks later I'm like, right, I'm done now, what's the next thing? And I kind of move on. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell, really. Writing's the only thing that ever kept my interest. But I think that's because you can always do different things with it. You know, it's so versatile. So, you know, this morning I was writing a kid's story about an alligator and a flamingo, and now I'm going to be writing this dark story that got darker than I ever thought I would write. It's so different. So yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah. Have you made lots of author friends since you started writing?
Yeah, especially on Twitter. There's loads of great author friends on Twitter in the writing community. I love the writing community, and on some Facebook groups as well. Everyone's just been really like nice and friendly and welcoming, and it's so nice to connect with people who understand what you're doing, because you know, a lot of my family are like, why are you writing? You know, before I published the book, when I told them I published the book, they were like, wow, that's amazing. Before that, it was just like, oh, that's kind of weird. You know, why are you writing? You know, my partner doesn't get it at all. He's not a writer or a reader. He's very supportive and he's amazing with it, but it's not necessarily something people understand unless they like reading or writing themselves. So yeah, it's really nice to speak to people who understand, you know, the imposter syndrome and all the different stages that you have to go through, because I didn't really know about beta readers or NetGalley or ARCs or anything a year ago today. I had no clue, and now I'm completely clued up, mainly thanks to a particular group on Facebook for writers, which is just fabulous, and the writing community on Twitter as well. And then there's some of the reader groups which are just amazing and full of fab readers and authors as well, you know, like the UK Crime Club, and there's a few of them. So yeah, I've met so many great people, and I think it's the people really that I met that kind of propelled me forward to actually have the confidence to publish the book as well, and just to realise, you know, some people will love it, some people won't like it, and that's fine. That's the same for every book, even Harry Potter and the other big ones. You know, Verity is a good example, actually, of a kind of a polarised recent book called The Silent Patient as well, which I loved that book. I read it before the hype, so I had no idea there was a big twist or anything at the end of that book. So that was nice. It is nice if you get to read it before the hype, I think, and you don't realise what's coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And if you had a lot of feedback from readers?
Yeah, it's the book took off way more than I expected to as an unknown author. I think because of the content, people are like, oh, what's that about? And I think it's piquing people's interest, that this patient's just disappeared in broad daylight, or what's happened to her. Is she a figment of someone's imagination? Is she a ghost? Is she real? What's actually happened? It does seem to have piqued a lot of imaginations, which is great. It piqued my imagination when I wrote chapter 1, even though I had no idea what was going to happen next at that point. So yeah, it took off quite a lot, mainly in the UK. I haven't really pushed anything in America at the minute, other than a few kind of that sold, but yeah, it's mainly in the UK at the moment, which is fab. So it's on NetGalley at the moment. So there's some reviews on NetGalley which are almost all positive, which is amazing. It's really good to get positive feedback or feedback. Some of the 3-star reviews are amazing for feedback and stuff. I think one of the 3-star reviews is one of my favorite, actually, but I can't remember it word for word right now. But it was like something along the lines of, "Oh, this is just what I needed after a few sort of mare reads," and it was just a really nice comment, even though it was just 3 stars, which was nice. And then on Amazon, I'm quite happy that I've just reached 50 reviews on Amazon UK, which is meant to be a magic number, but none of us really know why. It's meant to be a magic number, so I'm like, oh, I reached the magic number. What's going to happen next? I don't actually know, but we'll see. So that's nice. And before that, I got a lot of beta readers reading it for feedback, and some arcs from some reviewers as well, from Instagram and Facebook. And they all gave really nice feedback too, which is good. That was really nice to see. So yeah, nice. I think almost all writers have imposter syndrome and think, oh my god, everyone's going to hate it. So it's nice when people actually say, do you know what, I quite liked it actually. So yeah, it was good. It held me on for book 2. So, and then the anxiety can start all over again.
Yeah, that I don't think that ever goes away. So just get used to it, I would suggest.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm keeping in. So that's fine. It's a part of writing.
Even Mike Craven, who gets talked about all the time, everyone loves his books, even he is insecure. So
yeah, I know, it's always the same. Yeah, when you're outside looking in, it's like, yeah, but you get so much positive feedback, how can you have anxiety? But yeah, I don't know, I think when people have liked your previous books as well, there's almost that additional pressure of, oh no, I've got like people who are actual fans and want to, I've got to impress them again and then again. It's like, oh god, there's so much pressure.
Yeah.
I'm procrastinating over a particular chapter.
Yeah. Well, he's written like 2, I think he's written 2 more already. So
wow.
Yeah, because his publishers only release 1 a year. Yeah. All his publishers has nothing to do with him. And he keeps telling us off for being impatient.
Yeah, it's about normal, isn't it? About 1 book a year from the publishers.
Yeah, so
trying to be a little bit different and try and get to go for 2 this year. So we'll see how many.
Since your journey started, do you have one standout favourite moment?
It was probably just the first day it was published, to be honest, because it was almost terrifying, because I knew that I had a few hundred pre-orders, and I didn't expect to get a few hundred pre-orders as a new writer. And it was just suddenly hit me that all these people are going to be reading my book like today. And I think I almost had a mild panic attack. But my partner brought me this lovely charm that was like, oh, you did it, and it's a little love heart, and it's really sweet, and he got me chocolates and stuff as well. And I finally told my family, because I didn't tell them when I was writing it. It came out, and I was like, oh, hi mum, I published a book. She was amazed by it. She went around telling all her friends to go and buy it. In the first place, but never mind, it's done now. So yeah, I think that's probably just the day that I actually felt like a real author, I suppose, when it was out. Yeah, I think up until then I thought something's going to go wrong. I'm not going to get it out. But no, it was fine. It's all fine.
And what's your biggest dream? What do you want to achieve?
So to be honest with you, just to write full time is it. That's really all I want to be able to achieve with writing. I do have a day job at the moment. Obviously, I'm still quite new to writing, but I'm hoping to just to write full time. I do love my day job. You know, it's something that I really, really enjoy doing. I get to teach others, like I mentioned earlier, which is lovely. And just my team and just the general job is awesome. But to write full time, I think that's just been my dream since I was a baby writing on a typewriter. So to do that would be amazing. And that's it. I think that's what a lot of writers say, isn't it? We just want to write full time, just let us write.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah, which is cool. Which is, I love asking, like, you know, Mike Craven and stuff that have had #1 bestsellers and they've got awards and stuff. It's like, you know, what do you want to achieve still? And I just want to keep writing. Genuinely, it's like, good.
But, yeah, I think you definitely do. It's a job that you do for like the love of it, because it's so stressful otherwise.
Are you planning on going out to any of the literary festivals next year?
Next year, hopefully, but I haven't got anything planned in yet. But yeah, hopefully we'll go next year. Obviously haven't done anything this year with COVID and stuff. I'm not going to bloody Scotland or anything. There's a carnival my little boy wants to go to, so we're going there instead. That's kids for you. So yeah, it's not sort of for the rest of this year, but hopefully next year I'll be around a little bit more. I'm doing a panel for the UK Crime book club in October for Halloween. I want to say it's for Halloween. And a couple of things like this lined up, but that's about it for this year, I think, unfortunately, but we'll see.
That's cool. I mean, UK Crime Book Club is huge. It's, you know, they're just incredible. So
they do so much for authors as well, you know.
Yeah.
It's a great group, definitely. So yeah, that'll be exciting.
Yeah, just a 20,000 members nearly, so you know, no pressure.
No pressure at all. Might have to have a glass of wine in that one rather than a cup of coffee like I've got here.
The people that are hosting it usually, even though they have mugs, they say they have tea. I'm not convinced. I reckon they've got something else in their mugs.
Yeah, definitely. Wouldn't advise me. Blame them at all.
No, they're so lovely. And again, completely forgotten what I was going to ask.
Yeah, me all the time. I think I've forgotten what I was going to say halfway through a sentence a couple of times just during this interview. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I don't think I have anything else that I have to ask, unless there's anything that you think I haven't asked you that you want to tell us.
No, I think you've been very thorough, to be fair. I loved all the questions, and thank you for having me. Didn't expect to be asked sort of how am I going to kill somebody and stuff, so I really enjoyed it. Great.
Well, keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, I've got to do
that. So do you just want to show your book off again and then remind everyone where they can get it from and where they can find out more about you?
Absolutely. So this is the book again. So Lucy's Coming For You. It's on Amazon at the moment. You can get it obviously in paperback or as an ebook. And it's also free on Kindle Unlimited as well. So if you've got KU, feel free to download it for free. Let me know what you think. I've reached that magic number of 50 reviews, but I'm not sure what really happened. So please do leave a review if you do read it. That would be very much appreciated. They can be like gold dust at times, reviews. So it's always great to get them. And if you find that one on Amazon, the second book is also up for pre-order, which is Mother, Liar, Murderer. And that is out on the 30th of November. And you can follow me, Ashley Beegan, on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, but I don't really know what I'm doing with TikTok yet. I'm still learning TikTok, but I'm getting there with it. On Instagram as well. I'm trying to be everywhere, which is tough at times, but yeah, I'm trying to be all over, so whichever you prefer.
Well, brilliant. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome.